Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another Space Marine painting tutorial. Games which have very kindly sent me out the Strike Force Agastus box set a couple of weeks ago, and last week I did a video for you guys on the Desolation Squad. Whether you love it or hate it, I did the video. Some of you loved it, some of you hated it. That's totally fine. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the Brutalis Dreadnought. I'm going to be adding this monster to my Black Templars army, and I think the majority of the community absolutely loves this beast, so I can't wait to show you guys how I got it ready for my Templars. So I'm going to be using a lot of contrast, a lot of dry brushing, some stippling, a lot of weathering. It's going to be a lot of fun to get it to the grey plastic sprues to the finished product. So I hope you guys will stick around and enjoy the video. Before we get into it, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons. Without you guys, we'll be able to keep the lights on, the cameras rolling. If you're thinking about joining my Patreon, some of the benefits to that are a private Discord server where you can hang out with me and over 140 other people on a daily basis and talk about your hobby. And two, an extra video every single week. So that's 52 extra videos a year from me to all of my patrons. If you're interested in that, all the links are below. Okay guys, without further ado, let's get this Dreadnought sorted. Okay, I did some prep work for this miniature. I glued all of the Black Templar iconography from the upgrade kit onto it to make it match in with the army a little bit better. I gave him a base. I'm not going to talk to you about the base, just it's a custom base that I wanted to have for this particular model. And I got the model sprayed black and then sprayed lead belcher, both with, rattle cans, normal spray cans of paint. And that's how I start painting up Black Templars. From there, I just started base coating all the armor panels with contrast Black Templar. This is a very quick and easy way to get a first coat of black onto the vehicles. I've done a couple of Black Templar vehicles on the channel already, and actually previously I've done a Redemptor Dreadnought back in the day. It was one of the first few videos I ever brought out. So going back to that now with the Brutalis Dreadnought to see if it still holds true, and hopefully to show it to more people. So hopefully you guys, you like this method. It's a very quick and effective way of painting black armor. So like I said, Black Templar contrast paint all over the armor panels that you want to be black. One of the main benefits to this style of painting is because you sprayed the miniature black, if you're super careful, you won't hit any of the understructure, which is already silver, which is what it needs to be. So it saves a whole heap of time of going in and trying to block out all of that with silver paint. After the Black Templar contrast is applied, it's then time to go on to a little bit of detail work. Now I know it doesn't look amazing now, but just trust me, follow the process, check it out till the very end. I promise you it looks really good. So Xandri Dust was then used to block in all of the parts of the miniature that are supposed to be that white color. So on my personal Black Templars army, I don't like the white shoulder pad look, so I've swapped all of the white out for like bone color, cream. I think it suits the black a lot better. It's a lot more natural. It's basically the same color scheme on the shoulder pads as the tabards. So it creates that really nice triangle of color thing. So I personally think it looks better and it suits the models better. It's not such a harsh transition black to straight white. Once again, it's a personal preference. If you want to go into whites here, just every bits that we do is Xandri Dust, you go for a couple of layers of white to get a nice smooth coat and you should be fine. I'm just being careful here not to hit any of the black parts and to try and get as smooth a coat as possible. It doesn't need to be completely opaque with the Xandri Dust stage. It's the later stages of painting up this guy that we need to get a solid coat of bone, but that comes later on. After that, we're going to jump onto Corn Red and get the base coats on all the parts that are supposed to be red. So for me, I gave the two Black Templar crosses on its chest armor red to signify this guy is maybe a slightly higher rank. Maybe he was a member of the Sword Brethren at some point, hence he gets the red crosses. And then weapon casings to match in with the rest of the army, bolt gun casings and stuff are red. I'm going to give the extra casing that goes on top of the arms for the Brutalis fists a coating of Corn Red as well, just to help that all blend together. It really does suit everything and helps tie that model in with the rest of the force. I got in very carefully and got the casings of the multi-meltas in his chest as well. Basically, red means danger. It either means you're a member of the Sword Brethren, which is very dangerous, or it's the weapons, so very dangerous. So with those parts dry, it's time to move on to more of the metallics. So we're going to jump over to Retributor Armor Gold and get the kind of aquila across the chest and any other bits of gold detail. Depending on what kind of extra bits you've glued to yours, there might be more or less of this. But with my one, it was the majority, the eagle across the chest and the sarcophagus casing inside. And that was pretty much it. Once again, it adds a really nice, bright, vibrant color that helps break up that big splash of black right in the middle. Okay, once all of the base coats are applied like this, it's now time to wash the miniature. And just like my actual Black Templar forces, what I do is I go for a solid coat of Nuln Oil shade all across the entire miniature. Every single part, the red, the bone, the black, silver, gold, doesn't matter, every single part of it, Nuln Oil shade. This adds a lot to that Black Templar contrast stage. It really gives the armor a really nice dark black richness, which suits the Templar scheme down to the ground, and it shades quite well every other part. We will be layering up everything except for the black armor. After this stage, all there is left on black armor is weathering and chipping to do. This is actually going to be the final color of black armor. While the shade is drying, I'm also going to finish off that base that I did, which I think turned out pretty cool. My idea is the thing's running along and kind of jumping off the top of this thing into the enemy. Whether I pull it off or not, that's up to you guys. So Ushabti bone was then used as the first layer, and that's just to tidy up all of those bone parts on the miniature. So both shoulder pads, I did a knee pad in it, and a little bit across his chest. This is one of the kind of slowest stages because it's such a bright, vibrant color. You do have to do 2 coats slowly to make sure you don't get any streaks in it, and to get a nice solid color of Ushabti bone. And of course, you also don't want to hit the black cross with any of the bone color. So it is kind of take your time, go slow, and get it done. Okay, with all the bone done, it's time to start working up that red. Now we're going to do 2 stages on the red. We're going to do Mephiston red and then Evil Sunz Scarlet. These are really key parts of the miniature, and really the biggest kind of splash of color across it to distinguish it from a normal Dreadnought. So we're just going to continue to layer that as normal. Layering, like I said, is leaving some of the contrast and shaded part behind in recesses and cracks, and all of the kind of flatter areas on the miniature you want to hit with the next color. Very simple, very easy to do. And then after that, like I said, we're going to jump up to the next coat of red, which is going to be Evil Sunz Scarlet, doing pretty much exactly the same stage except for a little bit less. So we don't want to go as close to the edges or the shadowy bits with this coat of paint as we did with the last, to add an even higher area of kind of highlight. Putting that tall base on did make it quite difficult to hold, and make sure to keep it inside the framework of the camera was not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I do apologize if this isn't the easiest thing to follow along with. I then grabbed my transfer sheets, the 2 different types of Black Templar transfer sheets you get currently, and I applied them smattering all over the place, shin guards and center of chest. I added some script work and some Aquillas on his shoulder pads and stuff like that. After that, I dry brushed pretty much the entire miniature with lead belcher. This is adding the first stage of weathering, the kind of rough kind of chip and rub damage that you'll get across the miniature. This goes well over everything because underneath all of this model is a silver adamantium hull. So you can dry brush this over the red, the bone, the black, everything. You're going to make it look war-torn and damaged. This is a Brutalis Dreadnought. Its purpose is to smash into defenses, pull apart tanks, and be at the very heart of all fights. It is not going to be pristine in any way, shape, or form. If you want it to be pristine, that's absolutely no problem. Just skip the weathering stages of this. But I always feel that Space Marine stuff should be a little bit weathered and damaged, as they tend to be in pretty much all books. As you can see, I cut all the sharp edges. And after that, we're now going to add the actual weathering. So we're going to go for Rhinox Hide and then Lead Belcher again. How we're going to apply this is the sponging technique. So I just have a little bit of a case foam, spare sponge, and I'm just going to basically stipple this on. So basically I load the sponge up with a little bit of brown paint, the Rhinox Hide. I remove most of it, and then I just stipple it on. This adds a few little flecks of brown paint across the surface and adds as a really nice bit of chipping. I really like doing this stage after transfers have applied because it really helps the transfers to kind of sink into the paint scheme. The transfers no longer look like they've been slapped on over the top. It's something that was painted on previously and has gotten war torn and wrecked just like every other part of the model. and helps to blend them into the model really, really well. After that, we're then going to jump up to silver and do exactly the same thing, just a little bit lighter. So a few silver stipples, you know, where small arms fire maybe pattered off the hull of this thing. Created a few extra chips and damage. Sorry, the camera likes to focus on my fingers more than it does the model. Bit of a pain in the backside. Okay, after that, I got out some pure white, whatever pure white you like, and I painted all of the lenses and lights and stuff across the hull. So there's a couple across the head of it here, and then in the it's kind of head-mounted cannons as well. There's a little target reticle on that as well. So I made sure to get those done in white. And I also did the power coils for the Brutalis fists. I wasn't even sure, I didn't even check to see if these things were supposed to be like glowing light sources, but I thought it made sense as to why they're so powerful. They're actually backed up by little plasma generators or whatever. Increase the force. Basically, he's got weighted gloves. Then just pick whatever light colors you like with contrast paint. I like using the Nasdrag yellow contrast paint for the lights. And then green for kind of all the targeting stuff, because I'd imagine it's the same kind of thing as like night vision. And then plasma coils across the entire army are blue, so I decided to follow that across. Every plasma pistol in the army has blue plasma. And I figured it would be the same technology that's running through the Brutalis fists, so I followed that through. And with that stage applied, that will bring the painting of this Brutalis Dreadnought to a close. Here it is in all its finished glory, ready to stomp its way across the battlefields. I'll actually get to run this thing for the first time next week in Warhammer World, so I'm very excited for that, alongside 2 of his Black Templar brethren. Here's a couple of still nice close-up pictures of it, finished in all its glory. Hope you guys liked the video. I hope you've learned a thing or two about Brutalis Dreadnoughts, painting with contrast, and how to paint some Black Templars. Okay, and there we have it, one Brutalis Dreadnought ready to be fielded alongside my Black Templars. I think it turned out pretty cool. As you guys can see, I am a huge fan of Dreadnoughts. This is my 5th Redemptor chassis Dreadnought that I've done at this stage, and I have no intention of stopping anytime soon, so the more the merrier. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. If for some crazy reason you're not already subscribed to my channel, it would mean the world to me if you took 2 seconds out of your day and hit that subscribe button. Ask me any questions you want in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.